3 homages. Saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami.
Good morning and welcome to you all. So wonderful to see you all here today. I like to see everybody's eyes. I'm looking at you all. So we will begin our service today by chanting the Shoshinge, and that's the seat back pocket in front of you or directly behind you. This special chant is from 850 years ago from our lineage founder, Shinran Shonin. So it's extra amazing and special that we continue on this chanting today in modern times. We have this deep history, and so we can feel that deepness and tradition as we chant this together. Shinran wanted us to know that life is more than a simple journey from the cradle to the grave. It's a long, unbroken thread of life which extends deep into the past, and we are responsible for helping extend that thread into the future. As we chant, everyone is encouraged to offer incense at this Oshoko altar here, and this incense offering is in gratitude to the infinite wisdom and compassion that surrounds us all the time. Every day, whether we realize it or not, it's there. The amazing wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. So please come up and offer incense. And then we also have a medicine Buddha altar here. You can offer incense at this altar for extra healing for yourself, or you can direct it towards a friend or loved one. And then our Kannon altar is the altar of compassion, to send out compassion to the world or directed to a loved one. So we welcome you all here today, and we will begin our chanting. Namo Bus. Shoshinge. Kimyo muryo junyorai namu fukashigi ko hozo bosai niji zaisen jizai onbu sho hoken shonbu jodo in kokudo ninden shizen maku konryu mujo shushogan Choho keu daiguze, koko shi yui shi shoju, juse myo sho monji po, muho muryo muhen ko, 無芸無体公園の少女歓喜知恵子無断難知無証拠超日が交渉人生一切群青無交渉本願用語少女語知心信用願人上等学章大涅槃非死滅道願成就如来勝意公衆性唯生弥陀本願会五直悪事群上会往生如来如実言の法一年喜愛心不断本の特涅槃本性逆法再永流領収支入会一味聖主信仰上昇後意の水波無明暗頓内心臓死運無上不信自信人天非尿日光不運無運無資源妙無安逆心謙虚大狂気即応超税合悪種一切全幕本部人門心如来偶税願文言古代小芸者税人名分打理家弥陀部本元年部邪見教魔なく修上信行十字人に難中止難昔印度祭天子論芸中華自治一期思考層現代諸公聖書意妙如来本税大き釈迦如来両合戦一種五妙難天軸流樹大事出道性出の財波有無権先生大乗無情報召喚議事小安楽賢治難行六六信行異行指導楽億年弥陀部本願人年即時入筆上唯の上昇如来語法法大悲偶税音天神菩薩増論性奇妙無下根如来永寿たら謙信寺高専六丁大聖願こういう本願力栄光移動群上小維新記入苦六大崩壊筆脈入大永寿宗特使蓮華造世界即小信用法小信有望の人間人図入賞自音自王芸本自動乱有天使上皇乱小菩薩来三蔵ルシ十上教本書専業気楽法天神菩薩論中芸報道因果見世願王言栄光ゆったりき少女死因唯信心惑前本部信心法承知承知即涅槃非死無量光明道小宇宙上回復系同社継承道南省唯名浄土活入万全自力変言宗変満特語感染症三風三神慶音言増魔法明道非因一生増惑地偶税思案如海称妙法全道独名無償意法愛上三行逆 公明明語権威年海入本願大地会行者小樹金剛心狂気一年総合用意大と逆三人即所保障市上楽原神公開一大教返帰安養家に祭先祖出身反戦人法華二度小弁流極十悪人唯勝部外悪罪非正集中煩悩証言水不見大非無権上昇が本次元空妙仏教連民全幕本部人新宗教書後編集戦弱本願具悪性現代生じ臨伝芸慶地義上位少子即入弱上無意楽非知信心に納入不兄弟自主死と上妻無変極辱悪同族自主愚道心唯過信しこそせナムアミダアムナムアミダアムナムアミダアムナムアミダブナムアミダアブナムミダジョブのこの方は今に自己をたまえりほしのこうりやぬきわもなくせのもみょうを減らすなりナムアミダハンブナムアミダハンブナムアミダブナアミダムナムアミダムナムアミダムナムアミダムナムアミダムナム 枝の降臨際もなし高速かむるものはみな有無を離ると述べたもおう平等確に奇妙せよ栄光単にしくどくようどせいさいどぼ大神北条はナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナ
We would now like to invite the children to go to Dharma school. There was a last-minute change, so I'm just trying to stick with the program here. Invite the children to Dharma school. We will sing them out with Let the Buddha Walk With You. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk, just walk. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk, just walk. Let the Buddha walk with you. Let the Buddha walk with you.
Good morning, everyone. This is the Chula Pantaka Sutra. Thus, I have heard, while residing at the Veluvana monastery, the Buddha spoke this verse. Through diligence, mindfulness, discipline, and control of senses true, a wise man makes himself an island that no flood can subdue. The student Chula Pantaka was one of two grandsons of a banker of Rajagaha. The other was Maha Pantaka, who, being the elder, would accompany his grandfather to listen to the Buddha's discourses. Later, Mahapantaka joined the Buddhist religious order and in course of time reached a deep understanding of the Four Noble Truths. Chula Pantaka followed his brother and became a student of the Buddha, donning the saffron robe. But because in a previous existence, in the time of Kassapa Buddha, Chula had made fun of others for being dull of wit, he was born of simple mind. He could not memorize even one verse in 4 months' time. Mahapantaka was very disappointed with his younger brother and told him that he was not worthy of the Buddhist order and that he should go home. About that time, the doctor Jivaka came to the monastery to invite the Buddha and the resident bhikkhus to his house for a meal. Mahapantaka, who was then in charge of assigning the bhikkhus to meal invitations, left out Chula from the list. When Chula learned that he had been skipped over, he felt very sad and decided to return to householder life. Sensing this resignation, the Buddha came to Chula and sat Chula down in the fragrant hall. Giving him a clean rag, the Buddha told Chula to sit there facing east and rub the piece of cloth on the wooden floor. With each stroke, he was to repeat the word Rajo Haran. Remove the dust, remove the dirt. The Buddha then went to Jivaka's home for the meal. Meanwhile, Chula Pantaka went on rubbing the floor with the rag, all the time muttering the word Rajo Haran. Very soon, the cloth became soiled. Seeing this change in the condition of the cloth, Chula came to realize the impermanent nature of all conditioned things. From Jivaka's home, the Buddha sensed Chula's progress. He sent forth his radiance so that, to Chula, the Buddha appeared to be sitting in front of him, saying, "It is not the piece of cloth alone that is made dirty by the dust. Within oneself also there exists the dust of passion, the dust of ill will, and the dust of ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. Only by removing these can you reach the highest spiritual goal." Chula got the message and continued meditating, Rajo Haran, Rajo Haran, and in a short time attained insight. Thus, Chula ceased to be dull. At the house of Jivaka, they were about to pour tea, but the Buddha covered his cup with his hand and asked if there were any bhikkhus left at the monastery. Mahapantaka answered that there were none. The Buddha corrected him, saying there was one. He directed them to fetch Chula from the monastery. When the messenger from the house of Jivaka arrived at the monastery, he found 100 identical bhikkhus in meditation at the fragrant hall, all created by Chula, who now possessed supernormal powers. The messenger was baffled and returned to report the matter to Jivaka. The messenger was then sent back to the monastery and was instructed to say that the Buddha summoned the bhikkhu by the name of Chula. But when he arrived to deliver the message, 100 voices responded in turn, "I am Chula, I am Chula, I am Chula." Again, baffled, he returned for the second time. Then he was sent to the monastery for a third time. This time, he was instructed to grasp the arm of the bhikkhu who was the first that said he was Chula. As soon as he got hold of that bhikkhu, all the rest disappeared, and Chula accompanied the messenger back to the house of Jivaka. After the meal, as directed by the Buddha, Chula delivered a Dharma talk, confidently and bravely, sharing the Dharma with a lion's roar. Later, when the subject of Chula came up among the bhikkhus, the Buddha said that one who was diligent and steadfast in his striving would certainly attain arhatantship. When the Buddha repeated the verse, "With diligence and mindful discipline, Senses tamed by moral precepts true, the wise man builds an island safe within, no flood can breach, no torrent can subdue. In wisdom's light his steadfast form does stand, a beacon bright where shifting sands do cease. Through mindful acts in his deliberate hand, he finds an inner haven full of peace. We will now have a few minutes of meditation accompanied by Nembutsu chanting.
Namanda. Namanda. When I looked up, I thought perhaps I would see hundreds of chulas there, but there are hundreds of you, so that's great. A happy Sunday for us to share the Dharma. We recognize that we're all pretty goofy. We're a little bit like chula, and what Shinran called bombunin, that's our word for goofy people. We need regular chances to pay attention to our spiritual life, regular reminders. We make that easy by gathering at the temple regularly. We look to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for teaching and guidance. We follow as they lead, fellow travelers together, you and I. Thank you for traveling together. Don't forget that new folks are always welcome at RBC, Reno Buddhist Center. I guess if you're new, you wouldn't know RBC is our little short word for it. We are glad that you found us today. Please try out our weekly practice activities of chanting, Dharma book group, golden light meditation, recovery Dharma, and yoga, as well as Tai Chi now. It's like RBC with extra Tai Chi. So, Buddhism is what I was planning to talk about today, the Four Noble Truths of the Buddha. What we call Buddhism here is a system of thought as old as sentient beings in the universe. For us, our branch of that great natural way was taught by Siddhartha Gautama, who became the Buddha 2,631 years ago. His quest to find a path forward where sentient beings could live joyfully, that was his great quest. He wanted people to be able to express their true nature. His insights and the system of thought that he taught centers around why we live joyfully. The path to a joyful life is what the Buddha taught. At the heart of his teachings are these four noble truths, a framework for understanding our human condition and a roadmap for the journey toward enlightenment. Here are those four noble truths. I don't want to cough in the middle, so I'm going to take a little peppermint. First, life can be joyful, but we seldom experience it that way. Second, we don't experience life in abiding joy because of one clear cause. Third, should be counting them in the correct way. Third, when we remove that cause, joy flows in. And fourth, the way to remove the cause of non-joy is the Eightfold Path. That first truth is an insight. When we could live joyfully, as a Buddha does, we don't. The Buddha encourages us to recognize on a deep level that we experience pervasive unsatisfactoriness and dis-ease much of the time. Even when things are going well, we tend to imagine difficulties. Unenlightened, sentient beings inherently experience dukkha all the time. Dukkha is an ancient Pali word for suffering. Dukkha includes the full range of experience from acute pain to a subtle sense of dissatisfaction that colors even our happy moments. In the Dharmachakrapavatana Sutra, the Buddha first described this. That was his first Dharma talk in the deer park at Isipatana. He elaborated on the various forms of suffering and difficulty we may experience. Birth, aging, illness, death, being united with what is unpleasant, separation from what is pleasant, and the big one, not getting what you want. All these experiences sap the joy out of life. Life is wonderful, amazing, joyful. But ask the man on the street in LA or Detroit, how great is this? And you might get a challenging answer. But, not to bag on Detroit, I could have picked something else, but. So where do we go from here? The first truth points to the average person's experience of difficulty. The second noble truth identifies the cause. Why don't we experience life as joyful? That cause is tanha, thirsting or wanting. Thirsting and wanting things to be other than they are. This wanting is not limited to things physical. It extends to cravings for existence, sometimes non-existence, and for pleasures of the senses. Insatiable thirst leads to repeated cycles of rebirth and suffering. In the fire sermon, the Buddha uses the metaphor of fire to describe the nature of this wanting. It is as though all things are on fire. The eye is on fire, forms are on fire, eye consciousness is on fire, with the fire of wanting, with the fire of hate, with the fire of delusion. This fire of wanting binds us to the cycle of samsara, the cycle of birth and death and rebirth. It reminds me of a time. I like to do that because Will is my son, and whenever your father says, it reminds me of the time, generally sons go, not that one. When I first learned the Four Noble Truths, I was studying Buddhism in Sri Lanka, and this was long ago. I took the bus to my classes at Peradeniya University, and at the bus station, there was a very special snack vendor. He sold corn chips with the most fantastic aroma. And after passing by many times, coming and going, and enjoying the rich, fresh corn roasting smell, I couldn't restrain the wanting, and I broke down and bought some. Now, this is not your 2-year-old vending machine Fritos packet kind of corn chips. This was an entire chip factory on a cart, powered by propane, complete with boiling coconut oil, raw corn mush in 3 different colors, and special extruders of various shapes. You could order thick chips or medium chips, spaghetti fine chips, and they have all kinds of things in between, star shapes, circles. I mean, have you ever had there's a toy that used to do that with Play-Doh, you'd crunch it through and it would extrude in different shapes. Oh good, they still have it, that's good. So, driven by intense wanting, I summoned my courage and said, Ekta paketuvak karunakara. I hoped that was ordering a packet of, 1 packet, and he said, Rupiah pahak. So I was good. He said it cost 5 rupees, which is about like 1.6 cents or something like that. Okay, and then he asked me, Ratu, Rosa, Kaha, red, pink, yellow. And at that point in my stay, I only really understood the word Ratu was red. The other 2 words I wasn't so sure, though Rosa I should probably have figured out, but okay. So I said, Ratu. Hand gestures established the size of extruder, whether I wanted the kuda, ho, pisala, the big or the little. And then the magic happened. He aligned the extruder, mounted the red dough hopper, and cranked away. The machine squirted out a medium-sized bird nesty thingy of dough into the boiling oil, and it sizzled away. I ended up with a spaghetti-size one. A few seconds later, he scooped out the snack from the oil and placed it in a bag made from an old newspaper, folded in a bag shape, and I gave him Rupiah pahak, which is a tiny piece of paper with a 5 on it, and I had what I wanted. With anticipation, I cracked off the corner of the bird's nest thingy and crunched away. It was very warm from the vat of boiling oil, but after a few moments, I realized why the dough was red. Red hot chili pepper. Like super atomic burning hot chili pepper. I almost fell to the ground. It was so shocking. So, now, any rational person would have thrown the thing away at that point. But after weeks of wanting, I couldn't do that. I crunched away, tears streaming down from my eyes from capsaicin poisoning. I finished the snack, and let me tell you, it burned all the way down and out the other end. What do we learn from this story? Our attachments and desires trap us in suffering. We are unwilling to let go of even one desire for fear that we may lose out. And doing this, sometimes we lose out on a joyful life. The second noble truth, suffering comes from wanting. The third noble truth offers hope. Ending the joy-sapping suffering is possible. We can fundamentally shift our mindset and experience a joy-filled life. Joy comes when we extinguish wanting. Ultimately, beings can experience what the Buddha experienced, nirvana, profound peace and freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Quenching the fires of desire can happen. In the Nirvana Sutra, the Buddha describes what quenching these fires is like. He describes it as the unborn, unaging, unailing, deathless, sorrowless, undefiled, the highest peace, the highest joy, unbound. A way of being beyond our limited individual comprehension, where we connect and experience the transcendence of being itself. The fourth noble truth outlines the path leading to a joy-filled life, known as the Noble Eightfold Path. This path is a practical guide to ethical and spiritual development with the goal of freeing us from attachments and delusions, a path leading to understanding, enlightenment, and nirvana. The Noble Eightfold Path consists of just right understanding, just right thought, just right speech, just right action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, quiet, and quietude. That's 8, isn't it? Yes, okay, good. We can talk about these in Dharma talks to come. So, well, the Four Noble Truths are ancient teachings. They are and remain profoundly relevant to life today. In our materialistic time of rapid change and hyper-stress, these principles of understanding suffering, recognizing its origins, and realizing its cessation, and following a path to freedom, they offer timeless wisdom. In our consumer culture, relentless pursuit of material things and status and sense pleasures leads to stress and dissatisfaction, a perpetual feeling of lack, that feeling like something's missing, like everybody else got something and I didn't get it. It saps the joy out of life. By observing and understanding the root cause of dissatisfaction as the wanting, and applying mindfulness and compassionate living, we can find deep and lasting contentment. We can find peace. The Four Noble Truths offer a useful way of understanding life, and they are really a practical guide to transforming suffering into peace and freedom. The Buddha's teachings encourage a direct experience to approach to understanding what it is to be human. The Buddha's own life story is a story of the power of the truth to transform us. His realization and teachings have inspired billions of people over thousands of years to step onto their own path of self-discovery and liberation. Just as Chula Pantaka struggled with remembering even a single line of a Dharma chant, so do we. Despite our efforts, we forget the teachings. We forget to go to that thing at the temple. The Buddha understands our situation. He gave us a simple practice of Namu Amida Butsu, just like Chula. We can remember one thing. Rajoharan, Rajoharan, remove the dust, remove the dirt. In this way, we say the Nembutsu, Namu Amida Butsu. It's just the same. We're bringing mindfulness of the Buddha in all things. Through a seemingly mundane task, Chula Pantaka reached a state of deep hearing, mindfulness of the light of the Buddha, leading to his enlightenment. I picked this sutra today because it underscores the importance of perseverance. Just keep trying and find your unique path. It will come. The Four Noble Truths are important signposts on the way. Our Nembutsu is the heart of Shin Buddhist tradition. It is our simple method of remembering the Buddha. It is the best expression of our shared religious life. It is our practice. And by our, I mean the practice of Amida Buddha and each one of us. Namu Amida Butsu can be mapped against our Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths are the foundation of Buddhism, and they offer a profound and practical approach to understanding and overcoming our limitations and experiencing joyful life. They guide us from recognizing that we are not joyful, through understanding why that is, to following the path that leads to ultimate freedom. As Shin Buddhists, our life experience is illuminated by Amida Buddha through his Nembutsu. Mindfulness of the Buddha in all things. The spiritual life of the Nembutsu is dynamic and responsive. Saying the Nembutsu, saying Namu Amida Butsu, we soak in gratitude and the wanting melts away. Filled with awe and gratitude, we respond by following the Eightfold Path of compassionate living laid out by Shakyamuni Buddha. Namu Amida Butsu holds the Four Noble Truths inside it. Today, like all days, our human world needs our loving kindness, bringing mindfulness to the joyful qualities of life. For this reason, we will say together a metta prayer to release those imprisoned by wanting and reacting so they can find the path of joy and peace that the Buddha offers. We'll do that together. I'll say it first. Say after me. May you be happy. May you be free from harm. May you receive boundless compassion. And may peace and harmony fill your heart. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Thank you. It is our custom now to share our Reno Buddhist Center theme song, which is on page 49 of the service book, Home in the Meadow. Stand as you're able, and Masako will play the piano for us. Thank you. That's always most pleasant to share. I always think of Alicia because she picked that song from a Debbie Reynolds movie, I think it was, and so that's our theme song. I will point your attention to the announcements that are on the order of service. There are many of them. You are welcome to read them, though I will read for you. Tea and treats are available downstairs through the hall and downstairs in Haroma Hall. We also have newcomer circles, so if you're new or not new and you have questions, you want to share interactive time together, that's a good place to go. I'm not sure I see George Killeran. I do not. But there was a table with a sign that says Newcomer Circle there. You can find it, I'm sure. A bunch of other things happen through the week. Try those out. The big announcement is we will be creating a Medicine Buddha sand mandala between July 15th and July 20th. From 10 in the morning till 5 p.m., all the days in between there, Losang Samten will come and we'll have the mandala table in the middle of the hall there, and people can come. You can spend time observing this occur. I think on some of the easy parts, he even encourages people to help him, but that's just like to fill in the blue area, and like that. So. We do need, I haven't read this before, so volunteers are in need. Okay. Our Honda will be open daily to experience this amazing artistry and powerful healing energy. Volunteers are needed to greet visitors and watch over the temple for that whole time. Kim Baez is raising her hand in the far back there, in the cool dark back there. I forgot to turn the lights on today. And her email address appears here. If you'd like to sign up and communicate, that would be most helpful. Okay, thank you.